everyone. I'm sorry it's took me till Wednesday morning to do my video. And also I apologise, it's just going to be me talking and there's no fancy graphics. I'm hoping that if I come across somebody who will be interested in joining in with me and doing videos, that would really help in the future, but we'll have to see where this goes. Here is this week's Raw. First thing that happened was the return of the Messiah, Seth Rollins, who looks in absolutely fantastic shape. He looks well rested, and it looks like he's pretty much straight back into the title picture. He's going to confront Damian Priest, and Damian Priest comes out pretty much straight away to react to what he was saying. Seth Rollins made a great comparison between them two, really, in terms of waiting a long time to cash in and cashing in on the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania, and being successful. So the wait was worth it. And it's going to be a very interesting clash, I think. And the match itself will probably be one of the good ones. I think Damian Priest has become such a great superstar with what's happened in the Judgment Day. And then we'll go on to what's happened in the Judgment Day this week, shall we? Because we've had a lot more of what's been going on between Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. First thing we saw was Priest confronting Finn Balor about taking those hotel keys that Liv Morgan gave Dominic Mysterio last week. He says it was to protect Dominic Mysterio and make sure he didn't use them. However, I think the motives might be a bit more questionable than that. Does he want Liv Morgan for himself? Are they in some sort of cahoots and Finn Balor's actually working against the Judgment Day? I can't make my mind up which I think more, or if it's a bit of both. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens there. It's interesting. And in the same segment, we learned that Dominic Mysterio's vest had been taken. We happened to see Liv Morgan wearing the vest in between two matches. The first one, she comes out in between Kiara James, Io Sky, and Selena Vega when they were competing for Money in the Bank shot. And she comes out again during Dragon Lee versus Carlito because that was Judgment Day in LWO. In both instances, there's a confrontation between Liv Morgan and Selena Vega. So there might be a bit of a feud going on there. I can't say at this. Well, I think there's a possibility that the Judgment Day will probably end up teaming up with Liv Morgan against them if this is going to be a long-term feud between the groups. So we'll have to see what happens. We were just wondering how she actually got the vest. Do we think Finn Balor gave her the vest? There's certainly a lot of strange things going on in the Judgment Day. A lot of it centres around Finn Balor. It makes you wonder how many days the Judgment Day have left as a group. If we split up, I can see good things for Rhea Ripley or Mommy, who, speaking of which, is going to be incredibly angry about what's been happening. She's not going to like the involvement of Liv Morgan. She's not going to be happy that Dominic Mysterio needs to keep getting pulled away from her. I think ultimately Priest and will side with Rhea if anything does happen between the Judgment Day members. And they're the two sort of big stars. And they probably don't need for Judgment Day anymore. To an extent, I'd say Dominic Mysterio doesn't really need the Judgment Day anymore as well. He's quite capable of keeping that heel heat to himself, I think. There was also a very interesting clash between Sheamus and Bron Breakker. I think the implications of that match is because Ludwig Kaiser came and attacked Sheamus. He cost Bron Breakker the match. There's no outcome. So I think ultimately Sheamus is probably continuing to have problems with Imperium, so Gunther and Kaiser. While Bron Breakker, who himself is turning out to be quite an aggressive, powerful star. I think he's got the way to go as well. He'll probably get the Intercontinental title shot against Sami Zayn in the future. Speaking of Sami Zayn, he said how sorry he felt for the Alpha Academy. Because he's finished with Chad, he says, but they're gonna have to break away from him in their own time, and when they're ready, when they're sick of it. He's comparing it to his time in the Bloodline, because he had to do the same thing. Basically, he says, earlier on in the night, though, Chad did lose to Braun Strowman in what was pretty much a squash match. As you'd expect, Braun Strowman just sort of obliterated him. He did call him a bully to the Alpha Academy. At this time, it seems like the Alpha Academy is done. He calls them all into the ring afterwards, kind of blaming them for his own loss, like he has been doing for weeks. He throws Maxine's crutch out the ring. He actually hits Tozawa. Otis gets in the ring, kind of shoves him into the turnbuckle, which makes Chad sort of cower. Then they all walk away. Later on, this is after Sammy's segment, I think, they actually tell him they're done with him. So it seems like the end of Alpha Academy, and they did actually get sick of him this week. But the most interesting thing to happen this week, I've been looking forward to this for weeks, after weeks of QR codes and videos and him hacking WWE social media platforms. We see the return of Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Six. So this is the most exciting bit of the week. It was a massacre that they promised, so lots of bodies, lots of superstars on the floor. First thing we see was Nikki Cross crawling out. We see Eric Rowan, and a nice touch, as well as being Ramblin' Rabbit, was that he had the hammer from his time with the Bludgeon Brothers with Brody Lee, which is a nice tribute to him. We see Dexter Lumis as Mercy the Buzzard, Jerry Gacy as Huskus the Pig. It's very hard to tell who all the victims are, because obviously it's not very light. I think the two most noticeable ones are Gunther, possibly, and most noticeably Chad Gable. He was hinted at in a lot of the QR codes. We see Howdy himself coming out. He walked very much like Colt Bray. He said, "We're here with the lantern." It was a very nice little touch. And I think in the long run, it's going to be a nice little tribute to his brother Bray, who is still very much missed. I was a big fan of Bray's work, and I'm sure Bo Dallas will do his gimmick justice. And Bray probably would have felt very proud seeing his brother pulling this off, something that was kind of his own vision. So I'm very happy with how this has turned out. Speaking of which, why do you think he's targeting Chad Gable? I've got two ideas. One, is he going after bullies? We know he has problems with liars, and we know Chad Gable has been a bit of a bully. So is he targeting him as a bit of a bully? Is Chad Gable going to go try and crawl him back to the Alpha Academy, and they're going to be like, no, you're in this on your own, which would be quite funny for him. Or are they going to end up making amends? But I think a lot of people feel that Chad Gable deserved it. And there's a lot of funny stuff going on the internet about them killing him from Wikipedia and stuff, because it looked like he'd been shot. But another idea was, I was speaking to somebody about how people changed when they fought the Fiend. Is this going to be going on here? Is he trying to get these heels that he attacked? Because I'm pretty sure another one was Gunther. Is he trying to bring out the darkest side of them? Is he trying to make them darker, even eviler? So it's going to be interesting to see what the Wyatt Six do from here. But I'm very happy. The Fireflies are back home again, because Jey Uso doesn't want anything to do with them now. But it's going to be interesting how that turns out. And I think that's pretty much what's interested me most this week about Raw. And I do hope you enjoyed this video. And I hope to speak to you again. I'm planning on discussing SmackDown. I'm hoping to get time to do that. Thank you.